Angel Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be?
WNBA is absolutely losing its mind over the latest comedy show starring none other than Angel Reese, who just declared she's going to take down Caitlin Clark. As if Clark, a living legend, is going to be dethroned by someone who's been busy crying over sideline drama and faking injuries. Oh, and let's not forget her whiny rants about less-than-ideal salaries. Now, Angel's just been crowned officially delusional.
Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is when she's on the basketball floor. Plain and simple.
It's honestly laughable. How does she think she has what it takes to surpass Clark, the player who's out there making history every season? The only thing Reese has perfected so far is making a mockery of herself. But hey, maybe she's collecting awards for being pathetic. Sure looks that way. Before Reese opens her mouth about taking over the WNBA, she might want to check her reputation first. Changing coaches won't make her the highlight. She needs an attitude adjustment first.
Look, Angel Reese, there's nothing that she does where you go, did you see her?
Angel Reese apparently thinks working with David Alexander, LeBron James's trainer, will magically transform her into the next big thing in women's basketball. Yeah, sure. As if training with one of the world's best trainers is going to turn Reese into some kind of superhuman ready to dethrone Caitlin Clark. Please. While Reese is out there perfecting her general movement patterns, Caitlin Clark is busy actually improving her shooting and playmaking, the things that actually matter when you're trying to be the best player on the court. So good luck, Angel. While you're working on whatever that even is, Clark is sharpening the skills that have already left you in the dust. Reese may have had a nice little run at LSU, but thinking she's in Clark's league is like saying, I'm about to drop a new album after singing in the shower for 5 minutes. That's delusional, not competitive. Reese might have been the queen of LSU, but Clark, she's the queen of basketball, period. Reese is out here talking about surpassing Clark while Caitlin's already out here redefining the entire game. But sure, Reese, tell me more about how you're going to dethrone a legend when you haven't even gotten your feet wet in the pros.
For me and Camilla, it's the most we've ever lost in our life. I only lost 7 games in my last 2 years at LSU. So, it's been hard for me. But adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of, just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
Let's rewind to the 2023 NCAA Championship. You remember it, right? Reese desperately trying to steal Clark's shine with that childish taunt, flipping the "you can't see me" gesture right back in Clark's face. Oh, that was a moment, alright, but for all the wrong reasons. While Reese was busy playing WWE with her hand gestures, Clark was out there still the best player on the court, effortlessly outscoring everyone, including Reese. Reese's big move? A lame attempt to make herself relevant by trying to steal the spotlight for a moment that lasted, 5 seconds? While Clark was too busy making history, Reese was just playing for attention. Can't make this stuff up.
There is no one like Caitlin Clark in the history of the WNBA.
And speaking of stats, how about Reese's debut in the WNBA? Let's just say it was nothing to write home about. Caitlin Clark comes in, lights the league on fire, and averages 19.2 points per game, racking up assists like she's been playing in the WNBA for years. Meanwhile, Reese? 13.6 points per game. That's almost 6 less than Clark, in case anyone missed it. Oh, and let's not forget Clark led all rookies in assists with 8.4 per game. What was Reese doing? Still figuring out how to get a consistent shot off. But hey, she did her best, right? Now, let's get to the Rookie of the Year award. Clark took that trophy with ease. It wasn't even close. Meanwhile, Reese? She just got to be a finalist, which sounds like a participation trophy at this point. Clark didn't just win. She came into the league and made it clear that she was ready to dominate. Reese? She's out here trying to catch up.
But they still ask you about Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
What is your stance on that?
So my whole thing was when I got drafted, number 7. So I'm like, cool. The pressure is not even on me because I'm drafted 7, so the pressure shouldn't be up there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I could just hoop. So I don't know when it started to just break out where I was just in Rookie of the Year conversations. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's because you started killing it.
Well, yeah.
And they're like,
But wait, it gets better. Reese's off-court life has really become a circus. She got a signature shoe deal with Reebok. Wow, how groundbreaking. A shoe deal for someone who hasn't even proven she can consistently perform at the highest level. Sure, Reese, let's celebrate that. Meanwhile, Clark is out here changing the game with every move she makes, and Reese? Well, she's busy posting her lifestyle on Instagram. It's cute and all, but if you think that's going to help you beat Clark, then good luck. If I were you, I'd start focusing on basketball and not the number of likes you're getting on your posts. But hey, let's talk money because Reese loves talking about that. She's out here highlighting her WNBA salary of $73,439 and talking about how expensive life is. Reese, honey, you're not exactly living in a mansion in Beverly Hills, and maybe it's time to start budgeting better. Meanwhile, Clark is handling her business, focused on the game, and clearly not worrying about how much a latte costs at Starbucks. Now, let's really talk about this unrivaled league, the place Reese is hoping will be her big break. This 3x3 league is set to kick off in January 2025 with 34 of the top players worldwide, and yeah, it's a big deal. You've got all these elite athletes coming together, and Reese? She's walking into a lion's den. Look, I get it. She's going to earn $250,000 for the 8-week season, which is a huge step up from her measly $81,000 yearly WNBA salary. And sure, that's nice. But here's the problem. She's going up against players who are on a completely different level. It's not just about the money or the headlines. It's about actual performance. And right now, Reese's performance doesn't scream, "I'm ready for this competition." It screams, "I need a lot of work." And here's where things get even juicier. Reese is walking into a league with some of the most talented players on the planet. Yeah, Reese, you may have your sights set on the spotlight, but when it's time to play, the spotlight is going to be on those who can actually bring it. If Reese thinks showing up and having a good time is going to make her the next big thing, she's in for a harsh wake-up call. Critics are already calling this an overestimation, and honestly, they might have a point. Yeah, this league is going to be exciting and filled with top-tier talent, but Reese isn't even close to the caliber of players who've already proven themselves at that level. So while she might get exposure, she could also get exposed. There's no hiding when you're up against the best. If Reese doesn't elevate her game, this league might do one thing: expose how far behind she is from Clark and maybe even highlight how far she still has to go before she's on the same playing field.
So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes.
And here's the reality check. Reese can talk all she wants about surpassing Clark, but at the end of the day, those are just words. Talk is cheap, and it's definitely not going to get her anywhere when it comes to professional basketball. You want to challenge the best? You better have the talent to back it up. Right now, Reese's mouth is doing more work than her game. She's got all these bold claims, but the problem is she doesn't have the skills to turn them into reality. Clark has already proven she's the real deal, and Reese is still stuck in the "I'll get there someday" phase. And let's not ignore the fact that while Reese is training with one of the best in the business, Clark is still out there grinding away, putting in the work that counts. You can't buy your way into being the best. You can't just train with a top trainer and expect to suddenly be able to take down a legend. It takes years of dedication, consistent effort, and most importantly, talent. While Reese is busy getting coached up on her general movement patterns, Clark is making history every time she steps on the court. So when Reese says she's going to dethrone Clark, well, let's just say the only thing she's going to be dethroning is herself from reality. This unrivaled league? Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Reese to get some exposure, but let's be real, it could also be the place where the gap between her and Clark becomes even more painfully obvious. It's easy to talk about taking over when no one's really challenging you, but when you step up against actual elite competition, that's where things get tough. And Reese, right now, is still nowhere near Clark's level. If she doesn't step up her game and stop acting like she's already there, she's going to be a footnote in Clark's journey, not the one to dethrone her. The reality is that Reese can talk all she wants about surpassing Clark, but those are just empty words. At the end of the day, basketball isn't about claims. It's about results. Reese